Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a beautiful day. So, we're continuing to learn about what do you do if you have a friend who was cheated at a store, he was overcharged, or something of the like. So, does it violate any of the rules of evil speech, of lashon hara, to tell your friend how he was cheated if he's unaware of it? So, the first thing is, if there's nothing your friend can do, meaning there are certain cases when a person is overcharged at a store where you don't have any legal recourse. You lost out. Usually, if you were overcharged less than a sixth of the price, you have no halachic recourse. So we're talking about a case where there's something he could do. He could go into a rabbinical court, or he could return the item and get his money back. So in such a case, one is required to tell his friend that he got cheated, but there are several conditions. So now we're going to learn what those conditions are. So we're in Isure Rechilus Klal Tes Sif Yud Beis, that is 9:12. The first condition is Shelo Yagdil B'Sipur V'Sa Avla O Achisaron Yosef Mashu. You can't exaggerate what happened. Don't exaggerate how much he overcharged him. You have to tell him the facts, just the facts, what happened. Number 2, Beis Shatia Iker Kavanaso Lekane LaEmes Olazer Lasher Ashamlo. Dahainu LeToeles Hamisana V'Lo Lismoch Bekalin Hama'ana Avshu Yedeh Ba'atzmo Bir Shehonoso Hamecher B'Zeh HaMekach. Your intent has to be to help the person who was cheated and not to rejoice in the downfall of this cheater. Very often you see these YouTube videos where someone cheats somebody else, and these like instant karma videos, and they get they get owned right away after they did something wrong. So that's like a very gratifying feeling to see someone who was doing something wrong pay for what he did. So that can't be your intent. Your intent has to be that this fellow over here was cheated, and you want to help him. That has to be your intent. There's another aspect of this condition. It's like the same thing. It has to be. There has to be a practical outcome, a positive practical outcome that will happen through your speech. For example, you're only supposed to tell him when you know this is the type of person who's going to he'll go to court and he'll get his money back and he'll have people help him. But if he's the type of person who's not going to do anything about it, and all he's going to do is stew inside and just be angry that this fellow cheated him, and he's just going to grow this hatred towards the store owner who cheated him, then you're not allowed to tell. You're only allowed to tell if he's the type of person that's actually going to do something and there's a constructive purpose so he can get his money back. He says not only that, if this is a case where the fellow isn't going to do anything practically to get his money back, or it's a case where there's no halachic recourse, where he was overcharged, let's say less than a six, then there's actually a mitzvah to praise the item which he bought. You actually have to say, "Oh, you made a great purchase," and that's the Chavetz Chaim says that's not a prohibition of lying. Right? We're not supposed to lie, but in this case, you're supposed to praise someone's purchase if he has no practical recourse to get his money back. So if this is the type of person who will go to court and will get his money back, then you should tell him. You should tell him that he was cheated. But if he's the type of person that he's never going to do anything about it, and he has this object and it's his and that's it, and if you tell him these things, he's just going to get upset, then you should tell him that he made a nice purchase. Okay, condition number 3, Gimel. Im hu mishayer shedvar v'yu nishmayim lahama'ana behochacha lahachzer ha'ona yochiach oso beino lebein atzmo lahachzer ha'ona v'lo yigal anidon. If there's a possibility that if you go to the store owner himself and say, I know what you did to my friend, and you really need to return the money you cheated him, and there's a possibility that the store owner will listen to you, then you have to go to the store owner first before you reveal to your friend what happened. So you have to give rebuke to the sinner before you go to the victim. Okay. Condition number 4, Daled. Im yachol l'savev es hatoeles be'etz acheres shelo yitztarech l'saper haganus alav lo yisaper. If you can think of an idea to get this person's money back without telling the lashon hara to him, without telling him what happened, then you have to do that. Number 4. Number 5. Hey, she'ish shehu mesaper lo yeh b'tiva holich rachel. The person, the victim who was cheated, he has to be the type of person who is not a gossip mongerer, meaning, hu makir mina grua hazu, umistami yasaper lahamaycher ech sheploni omerli shehaschera hazu hira o she'anenu shava dmei hamekach shenasan be'eda bada. He says, in the case where the victim is a gossip monger, and what's he going to do? You're going to say, hey, the store owner, he cheated you. And what's this guy going to do? He's going to go right away to the store owner and say, you know what David told me? David just told me you were cheated. So that's Rechilus. He's not allowed to say that. So the Chavetz Chaim says it's not clear if you're allowed to tell the victim in that case that he was cheated because you are causing him to do the sin of Rechilus, of talebearing. When we call makom, but nevertheless, Nira, the imhu mishayer she'im yazhir shelo yigala eshmo yishamalo yasakim. But if he's the type of person, if you say, I want to tell you something, you were cheated, but don't tell the owner it was me that told you, because that's Rechilus, and the victim is going to listen to you, and he won't tell the owner who told him, then it is, the Chavetz Chaim says it's permitted. So just to review, we have a case here where a person was cheated in a store. He was overcharged. So when are we allowed to tell the victim he was overcharged? So one has to be that he has a possibility of getting his money back. It's a case where a rabbinical court will say, you overcharge him, return his money. It has to be, when you tell it over, you're not allowed to exaggerate. 2, your intent has to be that you're trying to help the victim, and the victim is going to do something about it. He's not just the type of person who will stew inside and not actually try to get his money back. Number 3, you first have to try to rebuke the store owner. Number 4, there's no other way to get the victim his money back without telling him what happened. That was number 4. And number 5 is that the victim is not a talebearer who's going to tell the store owner that so-and-so told me that you overcharged me. Okay, so that was the halachas if you have a friend who is cheated in a store. And with that, I hope everyone has a beautiful day. And if anyone has any questions, as always, please feel free to reach out. And if you want to sign up to receive these shiurim, which we give a few times a week, please don't hesitate to send me a message.